The Battle of Britain is about to begin.
Deep right, we got tanks up there. Let's follow a range on deep right. I'm doing out right on the target right now. I've got a couple of these right in front of me. I'm going out for it. Right, I got him.
Welcome back to the Lead Pursuit Podcast. Trust me, I know you haven't missed us, and in fact, we haven't missed each other either. So the point is, I really don't like the three guys on tonight, but, well, I spent a weekend with one of them, Steve, so I gotta say, maybe I like him, or maybe it's just, he doesn't smell as bad as most war gamers. Steve, how you doing tonight?
Good, man. I got a little ripe on all the driving back and forth, but, a couple showers took care of it. We're all good.
Yeah, it's weird. I could just spray you with Febreze across the room and it would smell better than the smell of Fallen, which is broken dreams, Bengay, and foot powder. I don't know. I can't make any more old guy jokes. I can't make old guy jokes because I'm also joined by that other old guy who is so old, he's actually worn camouflage that's not Marpat. That's actually woodland camouflage as a U.S. Marine. Casey, how you doing, you old fucker?
I'm good. I'm pretty sure that's an antique now, actually. Like, it's cool again.
Actually, I think it is. I think I need
cool,
to find
so
my...
that's how I know I'm old.
You're old because your camo pattern has become cool again. Well, let's talk to that young whippersnapper who probably has never worn anything except desert Marpat. Matt, how you doing, Matt?
That's accurate.
He's like, I think I have one set of greens and 5 set of deserts. I might be a GWAT baby.
Yeah, yep, accurate. We had no complaints.
That joke just totally flopped because it was true.
Yeah, it's like, I got nothing, man. What do you want from me?
All right. Well, no worries. We're going to talk tonight about some shit we've done over the last few months. Not going to talk at all about upcoming events because the only event we're giving 2 fucks about is Adepticon 2025. So if you're another event like Siege of Vicksburg, that's President's Day weekend 2025, we're not thinking about you right now. We're focused on Adepticon, but we'll get to all those other events. We'll definitely try to make Siege of Vicksburg if schedule allows. And there's a couple other things going on. So we'll talk about schedule more in a later episode. And we're really not going to talk about new shit that came out because, oh my God, we saw all of it at the conventions we're at. And I didn't spend any money. Casey, did you spend any money at Millennium Con?
You didn't spend any money at all?
I didn't. Well, besides food, besides the Korean fried chicken that tore the anus out of Steve, apparently. But no, I didn't buy any miniatures or anything.
Yeah, I bought, let's see, what did I buy? I bought some Chain of Command templates from Phalanx Consortium, some bases from them, and then some of the pretty badass miniatures, the sci-fi ones, Blackout from Enemy Spotted Studios.
Yeah, Blackout stuff looks cool. I didn't talk to the guys again, so that's 2 cons I have failed to talk to them while they're there in the vendor area. So I got a big capital F for that. But yeah, those minis, those look really cool.
Yeah, and it was one person bought it, and it was just downhill. I think those guys nearly sold out in probably 45 minutes. Super cool guys, too. We should have them on the cast sometime.
Yeah, we should. If only we'd asked somebody to do that.
Shout out to the Blackout guys, fans of Lead Pursuit Podcast.
Yeah, I know. I was laughing. You ran by and stopped and talked to him there at Fallen.
It was
what's
nice.
really wild? Before they came out with this version of their miniatures and rules a while back, they kind of were doing print on demand. And I contacted them. I've got a whole bunch of their minis in like 172 that they scaled down for me, just because I was as a painting project. So I've got
just
a bunch.
Because you're difficult and have to be a different scale guy.
Yes,
that's how it is.
Yeah. I had some LAVs and I wanted some robots in them, so they printed me a bunch of their rows. They are really awesome. They were super sweet. They printed everything up. It was real fast, and I don't think they do that anymore.
You
but it's really
robots in LAVs.
Yes.
Is that like some anime dork thing? That
no, I watched. Oh gosh, what's that South African director name? Chappie. Yes, yeah, I was watching Chappie, and I was like, oh, Chappie would look really cool coming out in LAV. The LAV's painted, but the robot's not.
The robots aren't. Oops. Only part of an idea there. Well, Steve, you actually went big at Fallen. You laid out all the bank and bought another aerial war game. What'd you get?
I did. I bought in pretty heavy into World War One Wings of Glory. I mean, I really don't open my wallet in the vendor hall very often, except for like some small stuff. But really had a great time with Wings of Glory. My daughter really liked it. You know, we've actually played it like a few times since we've been home already. So money well spent. Yeah, super fun
Nice.
game.
Nice. Well, it looked like Ares was kind of making a new production run. I know we need to talk to them on the podcast at some point, but what was kind of the intel you got about their latest re-release?
Yeah, so Wings of Glory is basically like it's like officially back. It was out of it was in production, then they had some stuff happen. It went out of production. They did a new production run. Long story short, it's back. I mean, it's in production. They're just waiting to get their new stuff. And it basically, so I was kind of like, that was, I think Friday we played the Wings of Glory game. And I was
Right,
like, oh, I'll
right.
pick it up before we leave. I don't want to really buy it today. I'll just make sure I go over by the end of the convention and get it. I wound up buying it Friday before I went home, and they were literally sold out by the end of the convention. Like every model on their table was gone.
Yeah, I think they were down to 2 models when I walked
Yeah, it's
by on
crazy.
Sunday, and I don't even remember what they had. It was pretty funny, though.
Yeah, there is a
Please
little
buy our last
lag.
2.
So he said there is a little lag. The stuff is produced, but there's just a little lag right now as far as getting it on the website, getting it all like back officially in stock. But yeah, Wings of Glory is not dead. It did not go away. It's back in like 100% full production mode.
God,
Yeah,
that
that's
was the
pretty
short
cool.
story.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
the short
yeah.
version of it. Yeah. Never ask Steve for the
Well,
long
since you
version of the
haven't
story.
been here in 6 months, you don't know how long-winded I can be.
I can't even
Hey,
say that
Steve,
I've
who's
been busy
that guy? I
printing
thought we
stuff for
fired
Doug
him.
either.
Yeah, exactly. Fired him from the podcast because he wasn't showing up and he wasn't printing anything for
I
me.
just came
Screw
from
that
my red
guy.
stapler. I didn't know if I was still getting paid.
Exactly. Still using the dental plan, the Great Lead Pursuit dental plan.
So
Oh, no shit.
I've actually got a bunch of Wings of Glory stuff, and I've never played.
That
and
really surprises me. I find that so
you
fucking
don't
hard to
like
believe.
biplanes, so I didn't bother asking you.
Don't they have a World War II version?
Yes.
They do have a World War II version. I have the World War One.
Oh,
Now, the cool thing is they've actually brought forward some of the stuff from the World War II to the re-release of the World War One, like printing on the bases some of the aircraft information and a couple things like that. So it's kind of an iterative product. I guess, Steve, they said there's some things being released with like old cards that have different symbology than new cards, but the goal is to quickly get everything
I don't
being
think
the
anymore. Like I think now it's pretty
okay.
standardized.
That everything's all the
There was
new
an
stuff.
original release, and then there was like their first new release, which was like the stuff that kind of came out a little bit ago, and they're selling like the leftovers of. But it's pretty consistent from here on out. And the differences in rules, I feel like I'd really like to try the World War II one. It sounds pretty cool. The different rule changes between the two systems.
Yeah, I think it would be kind of interesting. I know a couple people have played it, and they talk about how it's nice because you're not doing as much pre-planned movement as you do with the World War One, but it still has an element of that.
Isn't the original version of Aeronautica Imperialis somewhat similar? Like you place the card with the movement template in front of.
Yeah, so that was pretty familiar to me because it was like AI in the sense that you laid the card on the table and you aligned the arrows on your bases or whatever to that. But that's kind of where the similarity ended in a lot of ways because you're planning 3 moves ahead in Wings of Glory, and the good thing is changing altitudes, each of the aircraft feel different because they have different climb rates and stuff. So like poor
Cool.
Steve was the fat kid flying the aerial photography platform. And so what ended up taking you? Was it 4 climb moves or 6 or something crazy like that?
6 climb moves to go up 1 altitude.
Ooh.
Yeah. So the aircraft really do feel like they perform differently. I was flying the Fokker triplane, so I basically could turn inside the radius of my own asshole and shoot everybody, which was fun. I mean, but it was each of the aircraft played differently, and we saw the downfall of pre-plotted movement, as poor Steve's daughter Blaze plotted her movement in the wrong direction, thinking not as the pilot was looking, but as she was looking at the board. And I think it took her like 3 turns to get back in the game after she turned the wrong direction.
I was really pissed about it because I wound up getting shot down. I literally berated her the whole car ride home, just
what a great dad. What an awesome parent. You get parent of the year.
I'll never get in a fight at a soccer game, but you fuck up and fall in, it's inexcusable.
Exactly. Don't embarrass me in front of the grognards ever again.
What other aerial games did they have playing?
Everyone's favorite, Check Your Six. Had people coming by talking about Check Your Six, check your this, check your that. Go fuck yourself. Yeah. So it was kind of funny. Steve actually, I think, was the first one who asked somebody that brought up Check Your Six. Steve, how did you say it? You didn't say, "Do you like being miserable?" You literally almost said that, though. I wish I could remember how you said it.
Did I really? I don't even remember this. This must have just happened super organically. I don't even remember.
No, you literally looked up at the dude that was talking about Check Your Six, and he was talking about pre-plotted movement and all this other stuff. And I wish I could remember exactly your words, but it was almost like, "Do you like being miserable?" And I about spit out my drink that I was drinking right there. But yeah, we had our share of grognards. Casey, before we get to the furry report, we have to have the grognard report. How high was the grognard level at Millennium Con?
So I would say a nice medium-ish tier, but Millennium Con moved into a new space this year, a little about an hour north of Austin and Temple. And the new space that I'd say was probably about 4 times as big. So you were actually kind of spread out. There was a little serious grog. I'd look over and a guy had a, what was it? It was a fistful of toe games. Or not actual human toes, but toes, T-O-W-S. But let me clarify that just in case it's this podcast.
Just in case the FBI is listening. No, we're not talking about serial killers. That's a different podcast.
I swear to God, those dudes are playing for like 14 hours, and those were the most miserable looking faces I've ever seen in my life. I didn't know if I should pull the fire alarm or what.
There's an element to that. And it was so funny because our good buddy Matt from Allentown, who literally lives right next to Steve, and they never play Aeronautica. He was running a couple of Aeronautica games, and it's so funny because the grogs come over and do what grogs have to do. Like, what's that? It's 40K airplanes. What are you playing? Oh, I play Check Your Six Jet Age. Okay, shove off, scrounge. But it was it was pretty funny. There was some heavy grognardism at Fallen, which is always to be expected. I mean, it's a historical gaming convention. Steve, were you there when the dude came up and had the discussion about the F-105 with me?
I got there at the tail end of it, but yeah, you don't know much. You don't know enough about the F-105, Doug. We made that clear.
Apparently, I haven't done my research. Oh, it was awesome. I love it when grognards have what I call a docent's level of knowledge. In other words, they've talked to some dude who stood in a museum and they want to tell you how the airplane works. I'm like, it's weird. Read the accounts from the pilots. That's much better. But anyway, so long story short, a guy wanted to have an argument about the F-105 and the air-to-air regime. And before I could even attempt to skewer this guy, one of the other players at the table looked up and goes, "Yeah, it has almost as many kills air-to-air as the F-4 Phantom." So I was like, okay, discussion over. Let's go back to playing the game. Yeah, it has 27 and a half kills. Long story short, there was high grognardism, but there were some great people there. So I will gladly bust on historical gamers. But some of the repeat offenders were there. Cruz, the guy who was on the podcast a couple episodes ago from Tallahassee, from talking about the Tallahassee game. He's obviously from South Georgia. Yeah, he was there. He drove all the way up. I looked at him. I'm like, you're further south than me, and you drove all the way here. You're a crazy man. But he was there. Charles was there doing his Blood Red Skies. He did the scramble on Saturday, which is pretty cool. So got a bunch of players, and they're doing kind of a slightly different take from the Furball. I guess their big ugly aircraft was the Catalina that showed up and was blundering through the middle of the target area, like our
accurate
twin
description.
boom, the B-17. Yeah, blundering is a good description of the Catalina. But there were some other games. There was a couple guys that played in our linebacker game, they got together, and I don't think it was on the schedule, but they broke out their Akagi miniature and their beautifully painted SBDs and proceeded to do a scenario there with a bunch of the guys. So they played some midway stuff, so it was pretty fun. But
So
yeah,
how
there
did
was
the
Blood Red
linebacker game
Skies.
go? Did they like the arm,
The
Miguel?
linebacker game went great, which I'm surprised because I still think the two idiots that wrote those rules produced an absolute bag of shite. But but we've fought through the rules that Roger and I have produced. But it went well. I mean, there's still some things we want to tweak. Everybody had a blast. They had a blast with the target being on the table. They had a blast with Sam's actually being on the table. The the MiGs really cleaned up and laughing with the F4 player. He'd played Blood Red Skies before, but was new to the Jets and he wasn't sure how it was going to work. He charged in gloriously with the first section of Phantoms and just got cornholed. But it was a good game, and it was good because we flew. We flew it a little bit differently than the historical scenario. So it was a mix of MiG 17s and MiG 21s, but we had F4s defending a strike package of A7s. So it was fun. It was really good. And, I can't wait for Steve to actually do an A7 model, but the ones that we, did have from Eric Jen were beautiful. And thank you, Matt, for painting those up.
Dude,
Those
awesome. Bombs. Steve, if you do,
I know.
Like,
don't do bombs under the wings and on the fuselage.
Just do an accessory
fuselage
pack.
Aim 9 stuck.
Just do an accessory pack and have people glue them on. That was the biggest pain in the ass I've encountered painting any sort of aircraft. I've not had any.
It wouldn't have been that bad if you hadn't fucked up the decals.
All right, Mister. I'm going to ask for squadrons that no one has done 1-200 decals for, and leave Matt, who has a 14-year-old printer, to figure out. Yeah, I messaged Garcia that shit. I messaged Garcia that shit.
You messaged Garcia that shit. You found it and you scaled it down and you printed it yourself, and so they were beautiful. I'm busting your balls.
I do appreciate that, but
you were so apologetic. You're like, oh, these decals suck. Oh, I could have done them better. Oh, and I'm like, bro, these jets are beautiful. They're better than anything I would have painted.
Man, I was finishing the canopies the day before.
Yeah. Well,
the jets looked amazing. Like they looked so awesome on a table. And I like the World War II stuff, but like when you walk up to the table with the 1/200 scale jets, when they have a really nice paint job, it is just like it looks so awesome.
It does. And here's the interesting thing is the difference in the paint schemes. So obviously you did Navy paint schemes. Trevor's were Air Force schemes on the F-100s, the F-105s. Everybody loved all the paint schemes. But the good thing about playing with talented grognards is they recognize the difference in techniques. And they realize the things that you guys had done differently on each one. So it was kind of funny to sit there and to try to talk to the grognards about the vast majority of them that these aren't simple paint schemes. These take time. There's a lot of detail in these. It's not just paint, camouflage, and slap Nuln oil on top of it.
Dude, those F-100 Super Sabres with the heat shield around the engine, my
the discoloration on those,
look so good.
So I've absolutely got to hand to Trevor. His camouflage work is phenomenal. It looks so good. I mean, comparatively as far as the paint goes, it's fairly straightforward for Navy, Marine Corps, Vietnam stuff. But the Air Force was a Southeast Asia scheme. It's beautiful, and Trevor did an amazing job.
Yeah, and those miniatures play nice as well. I mean, having 1/200 scale it kind of feels like it's a sweet spot because the jets look big. Yeah, we're flying them at a scale smaller than 1-to-1 with a jet, but it just doesn't matter. You've got these really cool jets out there, dogfighting with MiGs, dodging SAMs, suppressing SAMs, doing all kinds of cool stuff.
I mean, when we played at NashCon, we straight lost in F-105 because the camouflage was so good against the.
We're like, where the hell did we put that F-105? Oh, there he is. Yeah, no shit, that was funny. We played on a different mat this time. We played on Steve's river mat, the competition, the tournament mat, and everybody loves that that mat. Steve, I think Blue Falcon Hobbies is going to have to start selling copies of that mat because I keep getting inquiries about, hey, man, where do I get that mat?
Yeah, I mean,
It'll be like neoprene ship
neoprene
targets. It's
ship
going to be the
targets. We
latest
have a
thing.
really good track record with neoprene stuff, so probably I'm going to
We
invest
do.
like $4,000 or $5,000 on mats and just be really.
You should.
good
You
idea.
absolutely should. Fill a warehouse full of them because you'll sell every one of those. Yeah, maybe not.
Dude, there was another game too that I never saw before. It was called Kamikaze 1946. Have you guys ever
1946.
heard of
Yep.
that one?
Yep. They were
That seems
playing.
like it should be a real
described
short
to
game.
me-
Kind of a one-way ticket.
It was described to me kind of as check your six without plotting. So I don't know. I mean, yeah.
Check
I
your
don't
six,
know.
but more exciting.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I don't know.
It's not fair.
They were playing behind us. It looked. I mean, it sounded like people were having fun. I also finally got to play Star Force Commander, which
Yep. You totally nerded out and pushed a little
dude,
Star Trek
I gotta
ships around.
tell you, I really had fun with it. It is 100% not my type of game, right? So like,
It is
no way.
1,000% more crunch than Steve wants in
Oh
a
yeah,
game.
it is insane amount of crunch. But I mean, I gotta say, it was once you understood it, it was all very manageable on the sheet, and it was fun. I mean, I definitely had fun with it. It would definitely be a game that I'd have to be in mood for. I think that game would be super fun with like 15 of us sitting around just hammered drunk, like plotting spaceship moves. I think it'd just be like so much fun because shit would just be going crazy and people wouldn't be tracking stuff and it'd just be like
This part was watching Steve in his absolute randomness frustrate the dude across the table that was trying to be serious. And he was a good sport about it, but it was just funny because he was super serious about how he was playing. Steve's like, fuck it, I'll put all my power to sensor resistor and I don't know. Yeah, so it was funny.
Yeah.
So,
It's good though. It was fun, man. I really liked it. Not my style of game, but I had to give it a go just because I know, and that's what I'll say. Pat put so much effort into it.
He's put a
right?
ton of effort into it.
It is really, really like, it's kind of like when you see like a car that you're like, man, that car is not my thing, but you can appreciate the work that the creator put into it, right? That's what I would say about this game. If you're into spaceship
that van
games,
is not my thing, but the bearded wizard painted on the side of it, man, that shit hot.
like if you're into spaceship games, you're gonna like it.
Yeah,
100%.
And
100%.
it's designed at a very specific audience. People who used to play Starfleet battles were really frustrated with how slow it played, but still want a crunchy spaceship game where you feel like you're making Starfleet captain decisions. So yeah, I enjoy playing it. My problem is I play it like once a year. So every time I play, I'm like, Pat, teach me the rules again. I've already forgotten. I'm a dumbass.
So,
but yeah, it's pretty cool.
That I saw pictures on Facebook from Mariner Games. Where's Pat sourcing a lot of those miniatures?
All over. So a bunch of them are old SFB ones. Some of them, not the ones he was using, but some guys have used converted micro machines. So all over 3D prints.
Yeah, I saw a couple. I was like, I've not seen that ship in that scale. Where do you find that?
It's kind of funny. So you should bring that up. One of the vendors that was there had a lot of resin casts that I think were cast from 3D prints. And they had a lot of SFB stuff. They had some other, what did they have? Battlestar Galactica miniatures. They had a bunch of them that were cast in resin, not 3D print resin.
Okay.
But yeah, they had a lot of options.
Yeah, because
kind of cool. There were some dudes that had some serious nerd spaceship stuff you could dig through. So.
As you know, I have a number of an A4 level number of Excelsior class ships that I need to do something with,
which we haven't played with. So
we haven't.
So I
we
guess
need to.
I will have to learn Star Force Commander so I can teach you Star Force Commander so we can use all of your crazy ships that you've made.
Yeah. So at Millennium Con, like the first 2 hours I was there, a guy came up and he's like, and I was wearing my Lead Pursuit polo, and he's like, "Oh, I'm a huge fan of the cast," and I always do, I look around for cameras or guys in suits or something, and I'm
me on this one, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, "Did John Russell put you up to this? How much did he pay you?" But one of he was being serious, and they actually had some Blood Reds guys there. But a fan of the cast, a guy named Alan Spencer, puts on this incredible midway game. It takes up a whole room. and he's got just tables everywhere, and it's kind of like a blind first. He has got poster board up so the teams can, talk to each other, and they got to kind of plot and find where the ships are at flying around. I'll have to put some pictures, but it's incredible. But he was watching the linebacker game or looking at the pictures of it, and he's wanting to use the rules to do kind of late 60s, 70s, kind of like Cold War gone hot, but using F-104s. And I was like, good God, what would be the turn on that thing? Like, what would be the special rules? Would it just like light it up and go across like the room? Like, how do you turn it? I don't know what the rules would be.
104, yeah. What rules do you give it?
Lawn
Not
dart
tight
to
turn.
the floor?
Exactly. Not only do you not get a turn at a 45-degree at the end, you get nothing. You fly straight. Yeah.
But he planted that
would be
seed, so now I'm like, well, what could we do? So next year, Alan, I know you're listening. So
I'll tell you, here's the thing. You were there. You saw the huge Korea game we did 2 years ago at Adepticon. Mm-hmm. I think it would be cool to do that scale of game with Vietnam stuff because it does play fast. And so do a MiG sweep followed by strikers, followed by, the bar cap having to run in and, pick MiGs out of the strike package, suppress SAMs and all that stuff. I think that would be super cool. And I think with Blood Red Skies, it flows fast. It was interesting. The linebacker game went super fast because everybody had played Blood Red Skies before. They may not have been super experienced at it, but everybody knew the basics. We just had to talk through some jet things. They made some learning mistakes, which I was kind of a jerk and let them make. But everybody had a background. The Rolling Thunder game did not go as fast because the people playing then did not have a BRS background. So
do you think
it really
we made some like little quick reference sheets for it? Like it helped, like in those big scramble type games that we put on. It's like little tiny laminated ones that Steve could do.
I was thinking of just having the Matrix upload how to play Blood Red Skies to their brain. But yes, quick reference sheets could also work.
That's an option as well. So is that what we're doing at Adepticon this year?
I don't know what we're doing at Adepticon this year. Did I put schedules in? Fuck, I think I did. I don't know. Are you coming to Adepticon this year? Are we going to snuggle up again?
Try to get the schedule, so maybe.
Yeah, maybe. That would be awesome. So we are doing some Vietnam stuff there. We're still doing the furball, still doing the tournament, and we'll go from there. I mean, I know Steve and Evan are doing a missile threat game, so that'll be pretty cool.
Did you see his MiG-21s that he posted today?
Yes.
Yes. Those are gorgeous.
Yes. Damn. Those, and of course, it's all our fault. It's all Lead Pursuit's fault that he had to go down this whole thing for the Ogaden War. But they look good. They look really
good. It
nice.
made me bust out my Helion Press Ogaden War book, and I was like, "Well,
I better study up.
Those
I better get smarter. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Those AK interactive paint pens, people are just using those for camouflage like crazy.
Is that what you're using?
Yeah.
I use those on the Corsairs or the Corsair 2s and the A4s. I may have used them on one of the Phantoms.
I thought you used it on one of the Phantoms. Yeah, I thought you did the last one, the Trip Tray Phantoms.
Yeah, and that was more of a test than anything else. I was like, oh, this works. They're amazing.
Did you just do the outline of the camo, or did you fill it in with the paint or the pen?
So mine, because they were the Navy Marine Corps ones, it's like literally just I use Tamiya gray primer, and then I just go to do all the white. It's supposed to be insignia white, but at that scale, just flat white works fine. And it's great for that because you just go with the paint. Like Doug said, you go with the panel lines and it works perfect.
It's like paint by the numbers, but with an airplane.
It is. Yeah, it really is. Like it's made it so stupid simple. And if it didn't have a panel line there, I just throw on like a quick piece of masking tape and just go, like that real fast and then peel the masking tape off. It's done. If you want a real hard line.
You got a lot of spare time. I think you should make like a video tutorial and put it up on the website.
I have no fucking spare time. You jackass. This is my spare time right now.
Paul, we're burning it right now. Well, then you better fucking hurry the fuck up, man.
Yeah, start filming.
Get done with your podcast and let's go.
So Vietnam Adepticon, what else?
Yeah, Vietnam Adepticon. There will be a MiG, big red skies, whatever, big alley. But we're not going to totally run it. Warlord's going to kind of step up and run that with one of their guys. We're going to assist. But we said missile threat.
So speaking of
Malta. How could I forget Malta? The Nerds of War want to do a big ass Malta game. for Blood Red Skies. So
Ooh, that shades of 5 years ago.
yeah,
You still have that massive mat?
Yeah. Break out the big ass mat and then put a lot of little Italian airplanes and British airplanes around and a couple Nazis, dirty Nazis.
So you brought up Big Red Skies, Millennium Counter Flea Market at the end of the day, and it was winding down. And I see John Russell out of the corner of my eye. He disappears. The next time I see him, he's got just these massive armload of 1 and 72-second scale planes. I mean, he's a tall dude, and this was just high almost to his head. I was like, John, what are those? Oh, I know what they're for. Never mind.
Yeah, don't even ask the question. I totally know what those are for.
1-to-1 battles on just about anything.
I should have sold him all my 172 planes.
Yes, you should have. No, he needs them pre-assembled. He was.
I could have done that for a fee.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
I don't think it's gonna happen this year, but definitely next year at Adepticon, I am gonna host some type of absurd Wings of Glory game. Like, I don't know what it's gonna be, but it's gonna be, in my mind, I'm almost thinking like kind of like the furball, but you make a pilot and you can use him for like successive furballs like every year, right? So you can like level up your pilot in Wings of Glory, something like that. I don't know.
That'd be fun.
I'm really intrigued by how easy that game is to pick up, which would make it like super easy to get people into the historical stuff. So I don't think it'll be this year, but follow on Adepticon for sure.
When is registration open? Is it usually in January, right? Towards the end of January?
Yeah, so it's probably going to open in January again. They're just finishing up. I think probably end of November, the last events will go in. I know they were shooting for end of October for kind of the early bird events to all be done. And I think end of November, the rest of the schedule should be done.
March 26th through 30th.
See how it goes. But should be fun. You know, it'll be a new venue, much bigger space. It will be louder where we are because historicals are back in the main hall.
Well, I just assumed you meant because that everyone would be deaf and yelling at each other.
No. It's no. Why don't you go to a real con and stop just pussyfooting around and going to NashCon and like join us somewhere big?
It's 2 hours away. Not even.
Not even.
Why doesn't everyone come to NashCon?
Exactly.
Nashville's an awesome city.
You can get 3 boots for the price of 2, or 3 pairs of boots for the price of 2, right, Steve?
Is it like September or August?
It'll be August again, usually. Yeah. So July to August, somewhere in there. Usually about a week after Twisted Lords. So.
Okay. Now the Millennium Con's early. You guys got to come. If it doesn't fall
What's the dates for next year?
Oh, they don't know yet.
Okay, I didn't know.
It's either Veterans Day weekend or
if it and fall in could break apart, then it would be a good thing.
No kidding.
We'll see. Cold Wars is apparently back. Not that I'm going to frickin' Gettysburg, Pennsylvania in the middle of fucking February. Someone else can go to that one who lives up there. But that is back. And so they moved it basically a month to deconflict with Adepticon. So we'll see how that HMGS event goes. Yeah. So what else did anyone see that was of any interest besides lots of miniatures that we didn't buy and lots of old people pushing more miniatures around on trays?
I'm trying to think about Millennium Con. I mean, it has actually a pretty diverse set of games. I mean, you saw stuff from Silver Bayonet, kind of fantasy Napoleonics. You saw actual Napoleonics. You saw Blood Red Skies, Bolt Action 3rd Edition tournament. Saw the old Force on Force game. Matt, do you remember that one?
Yeah, I've got
that.
There were a lot of guys running Force on Force at Fallen. I was surprised.
Yeah, I don't know, because a while back they did like a crowdfunded version 3 or something, and they worked on it for like 2 months, and then disappeared, got sick. I don't know, so maybe people fixed it, but really, there's no big theme or certain stuff like that. It's a pretty diverse game, and I don't know what the trends would be, but it seems like everybody was having fun.
I wasn't the one they were working on like Future War.
Yeah, they did that one, and then this third one was supposed to be the two of them combined, because it's a great rule set. It's just that reaction system can really bog it down sometimes.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, now there's 5 or 6 other modern miniature style games out there. So
yeah, I mean that kind of near future or 20 year or not even 20, like 5 years forward is pretty well saturated. At least from the rule sets I've seen. Coming out. I mean, there's a lot of options there. You can get super crunchy or more real lightweight.
when I was in the Warlord booth, this guy comes up and he's looking for something. I was like, "Hey, something I can help you with?" He's like, "Oh, I need a whale piss marker." And I was like, "A what?" And he goes,
What?
whale piss marker. And I was like, I don't. He ran like a Moby Dick Lego game, like tabletop made out of Legos, like a Moby Dick game. And I guess like a card can be drawn where the whale pops up and pisses all the guys. And I was like, oh, Jesus.
Usually I don't have a marker for that. It's weird.
Exactly.
Did you say,
There's
I don't
probably an
know?
STL for it, but
Did you say, I
One
don't know,
large
but
whale penis pissing all over everybody.
I don't
Is
know,
that
but
something
it
from
smells
like
like it at the
Kingdom Death?
Napoleonic stable.
Yeah.
Sitting over there.
I will
Oh.
say, if you come to Millennium Con, though, this new venue, those people, pretty big, but I mean, just for this town, I guess, but they had at least 24 people working. They were mopping the bathrooms every 2 hours. It was the cleanest,
More things you
best
care
smelling
about.
con. Yeah, they got a little concession stand, $5 chili cheese dogs. Bathroom didn't even smell like it. So, impressed. A+ on the con cleanliness scale.
Man, that's dangerous.
You,
Chili cheese
you ate
dogs.
a con hot dog, didn't you?
It was
You
actually
gave
a
in at one point.
bratwurst, and I eat it for the shape, not the taste. We discussed this.
Well, Steve, I think pitched in on a con dog. I know I did.
Yeah,
That
I
and
had a con
sauerkraut, and I
hot
kind
dog. It
of
was
regretted it later. I was like, ooh, that's not
You don't
sitting so
share it?
well.
Lady and the Tramp just went on one end. So you got the No, it was a good
So
time.
right.
It helped get the funk back into gaming and painting and stuff like that.
Good.
So
Good.
we'll see what's
Yeah.
next. I kind of want to do Missile Thread, especially after seeing Evan's stuff today. And there's some templates I saw and Thingiverse now to print. So besides
Yeah.
this blackout, I need at least 3 or 4 games to get 13% completed on and then go to the new one.
Then it'll
Story of our lives,
another
right?
set of projects.
Yeah,
Yeah, no
oh, yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Steve,
I'm-
what STL are you working on?
A7 right now, right? That's the next one, and then hopefully
Matt is showing his disgust.
No,
He's
this is a trend
repulsed by
of
an A7.
I paint a number of an aircraft that Steve has not produced or done decals for, and then Steve subsequently makes the aircraft and the decals. That would have made my
Because
life
of
so
the
much
hard
easier.
work you did makes it so popular. Everyone's like, lead pursuit.
Yeah.
We need that airplane.
Well,
so
Blow
don't
smoke
be
up my
cranky.
ass.
You did the A4 first.
Don't blow smoke up my
I
ass.
will say this. So, holiday season coming up, there is going to be a Blue Falcon Kickstarter, probably with 10 STLs of the Vietnam-ish.
Is one of them going to be a whale penis?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
AKA the A6 Intruder.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
So, do you think it would translate over just fine to like Arab-Israeli war, like 73 or the 6 Day?
Dude,
Good, right?
I think it absolutely would. I think all that stuff, all the rules will. You'll remove a couple things, but we revised the air to ground rules a little bit, so they're a little different than an airstrike, but they tend to make more sense for the tactics in the 1960s. But yeah, I think it would work. I think the toughest part is just getting aircraft matches that are fun. Because if you go in there and if it's a bunch of F4s versus the same number of MiG-17s, it's not too interesting. But if you've got MiGs jumping out of high cover, bouncing dudes, stuff like that, then that makes it super fun. I think.
It'd be cool too.
It kind of requires a scenario.
Arab-Israeli. I mean, you have a kind of a little bit more diverse planes too. At least you could add some mirages in there.
And I think that's the good and the bad part of it is you get a lot of really diverse stuff, but then you do get literally like MiG-17s bouncing old either Uragons or Mysteers or something where it just doesn't even feel like it's anything other than clubbing baby seals. But that's how some of the engagements went. And it's like the scenarios we did a couple of years back that were MiG-15s versus F-51s. So you got P-51 Mustangs in the Korean War, trying to survive and just not get shot by the MiGs. And your only goal is to survive and get off the freaking board. So yeah,
So
I think
where can people find these rules? Have you uploaded them on the website?
Yep.
If they
There's an entire section for Beyond MiG Alley. So if you go to leadpursuit.net/BMA, all of the Beyond MiG Alley rules are on there. You've got the cards. You've got I will call them draft of some of the equipment cards and some of the theater and doctrine cards. So there's some really cool stuff to play with there. Are they the final rules? Nope. But we're playing with some of those things. We're playing with how wild weasels work and how they suppress SAMs. So there's a lot of little pieces, still moving parts for the game. But yeah, the basic rules are there. All right. Well, what else did people see that was worth talking about besides lots and lots of battles I've never heard of, and so therefore did not play in because it looked like people wearing plumes on their hats? So,
Plane Printer put out the clipped wing bubble top Spitfire.
Yep, I saw that. That
cool.
Was a surprise, which is pretty neat. So,
turns out Armaments and Miniature has had a Mark 40 or FR-47 Seafire for years, and it's just not on the website. So if you're so I've got 6 of them I'm working on now. But they exist. Nice. They're out there. He has them. They're just not listed on the website. So you can email him and do the usual word thing. Just ask for the
Seafire squadron are you doing?
The Korean War one. Yeah, with the invasion stripes. Yeah, it's gosh, it's gorgeous. They're really nice. They're I got them in I think on Monday, and I've already started painting 2 of them. They're one of the better AIM models. Like the panel lines are really distinct. Yeah. There's not a whole lot of like mold shift or anything. They're really gorgeous.
That's cool. That's good.
You know what's a game? Did they have a lot of Civil War games at Fallen? Not the January 6th, but the 19th century one.
Yeah, exactly. They had plenty of those. I think they did have a January 6th one too, but it wasn't Alessio Cavatore's one. So
it's just something that it's never interested me to game at all for no particular reason, just because I felt like it was very just cookie cutter type, same forces. But this guy put on a game, and I don't know the battle at all, but I guess there was some like VMA cadets involved in it. And part of the true story was like they were through the mud and their shoes like came undone, so they fought barefoot. And the guy had actually painted like them in bare feet, wearing their VMA uniforms. I thought that was the coolest thing, and it almost made me interested in it for about 3 seconds. And then I
about 30 seconds. Then you're like, I could. You're like, oh look, is that a tank over there?
For Doug? But it's just never been an interesting conflict. To
ACW just doesn't.
Do you mean VMI?
Yeah, VMI. Sorry, I was thinking of.
I was going to let that go.
It's not the music.
I mean, I went to the Citadel, so like, you call them what you want, but I feel like on my brother-in-law's half.
I was thinking we're talking about, come on, aircraft squadrons. So that's where the VMA came from.
Exactly, VMA. The only thing louder than the whine of the pilot is the whine of the Harrier's engine. Sorry, Harrier brothers. I love you, really love you, like brothers.
So you had a lot of Civil War, a lot of Napoleonics.
Yeah, a lot of Civil War, a lot of Napoleonics. There were a decent number of Ancients games. There was some beautiful terrain out there. So don't get me wrong. Every time I make fun of anyone for any one of those, it also cracks me up how much effort goes into the terrain. And really, really nice hills and trees and stuff, and whatever little village there was for each one of them. I sit there and I feel bad for some of the guys because they put in for like 16 slots and 3 people sometimes show up, but they're having a blast. They're having a good time. And they're running the games, but there were a lot of other fantasy adjacent games. Oh yeah. There's some Zulu Wars.
Oh my God. That Zulu Wars game was huge.
I think there was like Zulu War zombie ones as well. There were a couple different zombie games, that were out there. So it was kind of funny to see, all the different, zombie adjacent games, and like I said, there was some fantasy adjacent stuff from a variety of things. I think here there was people playing Epic 40K, the old rules, not the new rules. So it was there was a little bit of AI. Didn't see any Titanicus or Legions, but yeah, and of course, big bolt action event. Lots of other cool stuff going on.
What about naval games?
Good.
Any naval stuff? I actually saw a lot of naval stuff. For some reason.
Saw only a few. There was a trireme game for someone that they'd done, and a handful of naval games, but not many. Not. There were far more naval games at Historicon than at Fall In.
Yeah, I can't think of even NashCon ever having a naval game, except for maybe. I take that back. There was Cruel Seas, and then there may have been Black Sails. Is that the pretty popular one. Yeah,
I think it's a lot harder to kind of run a naval game. Maybe they're more involved sometimes, unless you really get them like abstracted. Sometimes.
I like, or this, like Cruel Seas is what got me into the BRS. Just because I needed free shipping and I bought some BRS planes to start with. But that rule set is just
horrendous.
Gaping, yeah, it's full of like just gaping holes.
Sorry,
and it's
John
so
Stollard,
mistakes that you kind of have to. You're like, I'm just going to go with this to play. It's fun if you're just drinking beer and eating pretzels, but anything outside of that, I think it'd be very difficult to put on in a tournament centering outside of a scenario or anything like that.
Yeah,
A lot of fun to paint the models though. The little torpedo boats are pretty cool, but.
Well, it's kind of like aerial rules too. You see all the other types, get a new rule set usually every couple months, but I haven't seen a new aerial or naval rule set in a while.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, the only new aerial one is, it's that big mass Battle of Britain one where it's like 3 aircraft per stand.
Is it on Wargame Bolt or something?
Second. What's that?
Is it on Wargame Bolt or?
No.
It's the one with the little. It's got little pushers.
I don't know.
It's like you're in the. I don't even know what the hell
you're in the ops room.
Yeah, in the ops room, and you're pushing around the squadrons on the big map.
Yeah, I can't remember, but it looks pretty cool, All right. Well, anything else, guys, or otherwise, I'm going to say thank you, everyone, for listening. And if you're curious why we've been gone so long, it's Matt's fucking fault.
Oh, I'm going to kill Aaron.
Did you figure out where on the spectrum you were yet, by the way?
Wow.
OCD is not counting as on the spectrum.
It's called planning, bitch.
Exactly. It's called being organized, motherfucker. Unlike Steve, who has to bring his daughter to organize everything. I mean, geez.
Hey, man, why else would you have them?
You see Doug bringing his cats?
Yeah.
We figured out Steve's secret weapon, he'd be lost without freaking Blaze. She knew where everything was and which case it was in.
Dude, it was great because she helped me pack everything up. It was like perfect. It was awesome.
Yeah, well, I don't think she's going to be an Adepticon, so we're still fucked.
At this point.
Matt, are you going to go to Adepticon?
That's not in the cards.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was a serious question.
Was that a real question?
When is it?